story time about how I found out that my boyfriend was cheating on me on Valentine's Day. Ugh. We love it. So a little background information. I was 16 years old and a sophomore in high school, and I had just started dating this boy who was a year older than me, and he was a junior. And before we had started dating, I was actually his Spanish tutor, and we were both in the same friend group. Now, when I first met him, I actually had been dating this one guy, well, talking to this one guy who was a complete douche. And that's all I have to say about that. But yeah, we had been dating for 2 months at this point. You know, we started dating in December, and he really didn't take our relationship seriously, if that's a good way to put it. I had never had a serious relationship before this. He never had a girlfriend before this, so, which is not an excuse for what he did. But anyways, now a little backstory on him and this girl. So this girl had been in his Spanish class, and she was a freshman at the time, and I guess he had like a little crush on this girl. Now back then, I was the very jealous type. Anytime I saw him Snapchatting a girl or even talking to a girl, I got extremely worried. I'm like, oh my god, like he's cheating on me, you know? We're gonna call this girl Erica. So after school, I used to go to my boyfriend's work and hang out until he was done. So the one day I go to his work after school with him, and he goes to the bathroom, and somehow his phone ends up in my sticky little fingers. What a coincidence, right? And while I'm on his phone, I go onto his Snapchat, and he had been Snapchatting this girl named Erica. I had no idea who Erica was at the time. Like, I did not know that this girl existed. I couldn't put her name to a face. So I'm like freaking out, and I text my best friend, and I'm like, OMG, like, you know, I think he's cheating on me, you know, like he's been Snapchatting this girl a lot. And my best friend and I, you know, we become little detectives, and she had no idea who she was either. So I looked up her Snapchat username on Instagram, and I found out who she was. She was a freshman in my boyfriend's Spanish class. So I think I had told one of our mutual friends about this, and about how I was worried about him, and I thought that he was cheating on me with this girl. Well, they had told him, and the next morning, I wake up to a text from my boyfriend at the time saying, I'm sorry, I didn't know that you felt like that, like we're just friends, blah blah blah, every other lie in the freaking book. And I said, listen, I just don't feel comfortable with you Snapchatting her as your girlfriend. It just doesn't make me feel good. So he was like, okay, like I'll stop Snapchatting her, like I'll block her. Meanwhile, this kid didn't know how to even block people on Snapchat at the time. Like I said, lies after lies after lies. Anyways, so he says that he would block her, and I felt way better about the situation. By the way, this was like in January. This wasn't even near Valentine's Day, right? So then I realized when we were together, he would be more secretive about his phone. He wouldn't leave his phone around me. He wouldn't leave it open around me. The one day while I was at his house, I had Snapchatted him, and I didn't even see his phone go off, and it was sitting right next to us. And I was kind of peeping over his shoulder, and I realized that he had turned off his Snapchat notifications. If that is not sus, I really don't know what is. And I knew before that his phone was never like that. And like I said, this kid did not know how to work a freaking phone for his life or anything technology for crap. So I knew that somebody had to have taught him that, and it wasn't me. So that was really sus to me. And then this Spanish project came up, and our teacher said that we could work with people from different classes, and I was super excited because I was like, oh my gosh, like my boyfriend and I can work on this together. You had to make some food for the class. So I asked him if he wanted to work together on this project because I was his tutor at the time. And he was like, no, I'm gonna work with this other girl in my class. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, that doesn't make sense. So I was like, oh, who are you gonna work with? And he had told me this one girl, and I low-key didn't like her either because she had a crush on my boyfriend, and I just thought it was weird, and I wouldn't want him going over her house, to work on a project with her. As simple as that. Well, I kept begging him to work on this project with me, and he's like, fine, whatever, I don't care. So the next day I'm in school and I'm in my Spanish class, and my teacher asked me who I'm gonna be working with, and I said, oh, I'm gonna be working with my boyfriend. And she looks at me weird and she's like, but I already have him paired with some other girl. And of course it was Erica. So at this point I'm livid because of course he told me that they had stopped talking. So I had confronted him about it, and he was like, no, like she said that we would be a better fit partner wise for this project, which is not even true, because the first time that him and I started hanging out, we had went into my Spanish class to get my books before we left for the day. We walked in and my Spanish teacher was like, oh, like you should let her tutor you. So yeah, I'm sure that's what happened. So we got in a fight about that, you know. He was like, okay, like, you know, I'll stop talking to her, blah 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 blah. Well, then Valentine's Day rolls around and it ended up being on a school day. So as soon as I woke up, I sent this huge paragraph to my boyfriend at like 4 in the morning saying how much I can't wait to spend the day with him and yada yada yada. Oh my god, I'm crying. No! So we had saw each other in school that day. He never replied to my message or even opened it. And when I saw him in school, he was acting really weird. Like, he didn't say hi to me. He didn't meet me at my locker like he usually did. So I texted him and I asked him if everything was okay. And he texted me back saying, yeah, why? What do you mean, why? And I had said to him, well, it's Valentine's Day. You never answered my message. You haven't said hi to me all day. Another thing that I cannot do on camera or for the life of me, my eyeliner. Anyways, so he says, oh, sorry, I haven't been on my phone all day. Typical liar. And I really haven't been up for talking, but thanks. That's all he has to say to the whole paragraph that I sent him, that I poured my young sophomore heart out into. So my best friend's boyfriend was best friends with my boyfriend at the time, and I had told my best friend about it. She told her boyfriend about it, and then her boyfriend told my boyfriend about it, if that makes sense. So a little bit later, I get this sad apology / Valentine's Day paragraph from my boyfriend. He's like, sorry about earlier. I didn't know that things like this meant anything to you. I've never had a girlfriend before, so this is all new to me. Now that part he may have got away with if he was smart, but he's not. Idiot. You know, me just trying to be the understanding girlfriend that I was like, oh, it's okay, you know, like, I didn't expect you to send one anyways. It was just a little upsetting that I didn't get a happy Valentine's Day or anything. And he was like, don't worry, tonight we'll make up for it. So later on, I'm at my house getting ready to go out with him for Valentine's Day. And we lived like probably 10 minutes away from each other. So him and his mom came and picked me up, and as soon as I got in the car, he gave me some flowers with some chocolates. I thought it was really sweet, and I was like shocked because my family didn't have a lot of money, so we never really went to like super fancy restaurants. This was like a little over the top for me. So we get inside, we order our food, and I'm sitting there trying to make conversation with him, and he's just playing on his phone the whole time. And I'm talking like he was playing on his phone for a whole like 25 minutes. Like literally until we got our freaking meal. So when we got our meal, I grabbed our phones and I was like, I want to talk to you. I want to spend time with you. Please stop playing on your phone. So we put our phones on the one side of the table, and he's like, oh, I have to go to the bathroom. So while I'm sitting there waiting for my boyfriend to get back, he gets a notification on his phone. And my boyfriend just got a new phone like 2 days before this, and I guess he forgot to turn off notifications for Snapchat. Because while I'm sitting there, I grab his phone to look at this notification, and it says Snapchat from Streak. He actually got this idea from me. Anytime that I had a streak with somebody on Snapchat, I would put streak and then an emoji and then their name. So I'm sitting there thinking to myself, it's weird that he just has somebody in his phone randomly named Streak. So what do? I go through his phone. Duh. What else am I gonna freaking do? Sit there and be like, oh, this is sus, but I'm not gonna touch it. No. I wasn't gonna sit there on Valentine's Day and get fucked over by a boy that I thought was in love with me after 2 months. I could see how I look ridiculous, but at the same time, I was 16. So take your opinion somewhere else. So I open up his phone and I saw the same Bitmoji of the girl Erica that he told me he would block. Wow. Men, am I right? Excuse me, boys. Really? So of course I swipe over and I see that she is replying to a big ass paragraph she got at 6 in the morning on Valentine's Day. Yup. Like, this paragraph looked like a final essay, which is surprising because the kid could not spell for his life, yet he managed to spell everything right in that paragraph. If you want to know what the paragraph said, it was pretty much just like, oh, Erica, like, happy Valentine's Day. You're a really special girl and I would love the chance to take you out to dinner. You deserve it. You're so beautiful, so kind. Da 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 da. Bullshit. Get myself worked up. Anyways, so while he was taking an extremely long time in the bathroom, our waiter came back over to the table and I ordered $300 extra worth of food to go for myself. But I told the waiter that I would be back around like 8 o'clock to come and pick it up, so don't bring it to the table. So 10 minutes later, my boyfriend comes out of the bathroom and I tell him that I need to go and call my mom. I actually was going outside to call my best friend and tell her to come and pick me up. And when I went back to the table, 10 minutes later, I told him I had to go to the bathroom and I left. And he was stuck with a $400 bill. And I think he realized what he did wrong because the next day, I got a bunch of texts and calls from him. Also, the fact that I had already opened her message before he had a chance to. She rejected him, but still.